Hello back. My name is Vlad Panchu, and you're at Risk Hour, the TV show we're doing in FIAR 2012. And my guests for the moment are three very important guests and guests of the forum. I'll start with Mr. Rangambir, which is the president of UNSAR, the National Association of Insurance and Reinsurance Companies from Romania, and also the president of Allianz Tiriac, one of the major players on the Romanian insurance market. Near me, I have Mr. Cristian Fugaciu, the General Director of Marsh Romania, a very important broker on the brokerage market, the Romanian brokerage market. As far as I know, starting yesterday, it's actually the first broker on the market. You just took the first place. And also, we have my colleague, Alexandru Ciuncan, who is a representative from the Romanian Association for Insurance Promotion, who is actually a representative of the client's perspective. So we have today an insurer, Mr. Bir, a broker, Mr. Fugaciu, and a representative of the clients, Mr. Ciuncan. So I guess we'll have a great show. I would like to invite you to start with a small comment, because we just received the recent details, the trends on the Romanian market, and it seems that the results in the first quarter of 2012 are good. So the market has registered a slight increase by comparison with the 3-year period of decreases. So I would like to invite you, Mr. Bir, to start with a slight comment on this aspect. Is the Romanian insurance market getting back on track, or is just an illusion?
First of all, I'd like to start with saying thank you for the invitation for this show. I'm very happy to be here, and especially I think the panel we have is very, very interesting. We have the client perspective, we have also the broker perspective and the insurance perspective, which I think is very important, which also is very, very important for really the healthy development of the market, that all the perspectives are coming together. So I think congratulations are due for getting this panel together. Coming back to your question, I think first of all it's a very good news, because we were looking for some optimistic news all the time to have, let's say, the first growth at the level of the market after a long time. So I think one can be satisfied about that. But here I would also, as they say, one swallow doesn't indicate that spring is here. So we have to be a little bit cautious, because one has to take a look at what are the underlying causes and reasons for the growth. Because also taking up the figures which were released by the CSEA earlier this morning, we recognize that in some of the core lines of business in the first quarter, pricing was still going down. So overall in the core lines, we have again some, let's say, declines or negative tendencies, which overall doesn't indicate to a very positive or a healthy, sustained healthy development of the market, which is what we need. And one has to take a look at the figures in more detail, perhaps to see also whether the source of the growth really is in the Romanian market, or is the growth also coming from business which is located outside of Romania. There can be different drivers. Only when the business in the local market is growing in a sustained, healthy way, then I think we can claim truly that spring is here, and there is some optimism to look forward to.
So you have an optimistic view, but you're saying not to get very excited that the market is getting back on track. Sure. I would also like to hear, let's hear the opinion of a broker in this matter. What do you think, Mr. Fugaciu?
Regarding what happened on the market in the first quarter, I fully agree with the analysis of Mr. Bir. So he explained very well what is the current status. In my view, what is the result after the first quarter. is just a fact, and we should take it as it is. It's difficult to predict what will happen based on this first quarter of the year. I don't see a sustainable growth or something on the market which is happening now, and to lead us to the conclusion that this is the trend till the end of the year, that the market will increase. So probably an optimistic forecast of the market is not very appropriate. Probably the market will have a certain development, but I don't think that this increase we saw in the first quarter will continue till the end of the year. And here what is more important is to discuss and to see how the market can grow, what we can do as not only leaders but players on the insurance market to assure that the growth will be there.
I think that the market has to look more into the future. We have to understand that, of course, the Romanian and, in fact, any insurance market is depending on the global economy and the Romanian economy, of course. So you have to be a little bit worried and cautious, as Mr. Beer has said earlier, about the development of the market for 2012. But the industry, in the same time, cannot only rely on the general economic development. I think the industry has to come up with new products and new services, and has to try to access a new panel, a new group of clients, which are maybe not insured or not fully insured at the moment. Maybe a new strategy, maybe new products which can be brought to the market will make a difference in the future.
Alexandru has a perspective of, let's say, an independent observer who is not directly involved in the market. But he pointed out a very interesting aspect, and I've seen a presentation of yours, Mr. Beer, earlier, and you've said something about what the insurance market means and brings to the Romanian economy. And I would like to ask you, what does insurance bring to Romania? What's its contribution to the global economy?
Well, the Romanian market, the insurance market, really, at the end of the day, fulfills the core, let's say, economic principle of providing protection to the assets of the country. And over a period of time, by having that necessary protection of the assets, you can easily recover any kind of productive ability of the economy to, grow and have positive, sustained economic development. So I think from that perspective, the insurance companies play a very big role on the general insurance side and also on the life insurance side in really boosting the savings and providing alternatives for the population to have actually increased savings of assets in the long run as an alternative to any other financial assets which might be available for the population to save. So from that perspective, the Romanian economy, let's say, can benefit a lot from insurance and insurance products and also insurance intermediation to make sure that really the penetration of insurance is extended to the whole population and people become aware of the importance and how insurance can actually provide that buffer and provide the protection against any kind of unfortunate event that might occur for an individual, for the country at the national level, and also to bring it back into very quick economic productive capacity. And I think that's an important role the insurance industry can play.
Very important role, as you said. What do you think, Mr. Fugaciu, that the insurance mediation market brings to the global economy? What's its contribution? Does it help Romania grow, economically speaking?
I would say that the brokers are setting somehow the trend on the market, and they represent the client. So the demand on the market normally, if is not there, should be created by the brokers, and generally they are innovative and they bring new products on the market, and this combination of their experience combined with the understanding, a very good understanding of the client needs, they can send, let's say, the appropriate message and requirements for the insurance companies. So we together as partners the insurance companies and the brokers, we can create the best products to address the market, and very often we try to promote the insurance and to explain to the clients as a representative of the clients. If the insurance company is trying to explain what is the meaning and why an insurance is useful, this can be seen sometimes by the client as a sales process. If the broker is explaining this to the client, it's like we represent them, and it's a different perception from the client point of view. So we together, I think
Let me interrupt you for 1 second with a question. Being in touch so much with the clients as you do, as a broker and as the leading broker in Romania, how did you feel the impact of the crisis starting 2008, 2009? I mean, have the clients manifested their will to change their insurance programs or not?
Now, if we are talking in general about the market, the statistics show that insurance spend per capita decreased starting 2008 or 2009.
But what about your clients?
About the corporate clients we represent, when the crisis started, they were a little bit surprised, and our feeling was that they don't know what to do. And what they did is that they tried to reduce all the expenses, including the insurance expense. Mm-hmm. Very few of them, they canceled some insurance lines, but very few. Most of them, they started renegotiating mainly the price where possible. Also, they changed the deductible in order to decrease the price, or they gave up some risks which they considered that are not very likely to happen. And our job, asked by the clients, were to do a redesign of the insurance program with the main purpose of reducing the insurance expense. This happened starting 2009. This continued in 2010. Now we see that they come back on track, and they are willing also to spend more, to have the same insurance program, more comprehensive, the one they had before the crisis. And even more, they are more open to the idea of a real protection. And the new insurance lines, like the financial lines or directors and officers, different liabilities, are now more appreciated than it was before the crisis. So from this point of view of the corporate client, I would say that the first part after the crisis was a fight for the price. Now they understand better that they also need protection, and they don't have to look only to the price, but they need to protect their assets, their liabilities, their people.
Maybe Mr. Beer can continue on the same question and explain how are things in the retail market. Sure. How has the retail market responded to the crisis?
I think just picking up exactly on the point, what the corporate market is experiencing, where, let's say, together with the help of the brokers, where clients begin to understand that they also need to be correctly protected. On the retail side, we also see the understanding coming from a lot of clients that at the end of the day, it's not only about price. Because yes, when you are confronted in a crisis environment, you want to economize, you want to have, let's say, let's say the most economical or the cheapest level of protection. But then it comes back for the clients in a negative way, because the clients also need to have their liabilities paid. They have claims. For them, a claim is a cash flow situation. You know, they invested into buying a car or buying a house, and when there is a claim, they suddenly have to either repair the car or, you know, rebuild the house, and that's a cash flow situation. So they expect their insurance company to pay for that. And if they do not receive the service, or they do not receive the service in time, then it becomes an issue for them. And they recognize that there is a certain amount of value which they have from their insurance, especially once they experience a particular claim. And more clients we can see recognize that, and there is a tendency to go back to companies where companies offer the necessary service level. And that's where I also come back to the point where which you mentioned earlier. Companies need to invest into creating this value proposition, into creating the level of investing into the services of what they deliver to the clients, and giving them the comfort that for the amount of premium that you pay us, you will also receive the service when you have a difficult moment. And I think this is a very important aspect, and that aspect gradually is being understood by a lot, even by the retail clients, and increasingly they are really seeking out which are the companies which are able to deliver the value, which are the companies which are able to deliver the level of service for which the money they pay is valuable.
Because Mr. Beer, the discussion, our talks went into the client's direction, and actually the relation between the client and the insurance company have a challenge for the three of you. There's a saying, it seems nowadays on the Romanian market, it sounds like this. In Romania, insurance is much too expensive for the clients and much too cheap for insurance companies. And I would like the three of you to comment on this aspect. Could you start, Mr. Fugaciu?
I think that what you said can be applied to any client and any sales company in any area of the economy. All the time the client wants the same quality for the cheapest price, and the company who is selling the services or products, they want to receive a correct price from their point of view. On the insurance market, is it true that there is a big pressure on the price? But as I said, and as Mr. Beer said, the quality is very important, and the clients, they cannot give up the quality for the price. Unfortunately, we also have some clients when we search the market and we present the offers, and some of them, they accept to buy an insurance for a cheaper price, knowing from the beginning that the service they will receive is not the one they expect, but still, because they have some pressures on their budgets, they have to accept it. Probably it's the same with the individuals. Generally, I think that the Romanians are optimistic, and they believe that if they sign a contract and they pay their obligation, the insurance company will do the same. And also, unfortunately, the Romanians, we learn from our own experience. We don't trust too much the others when they try to share their experience. So, because the clients are sometimes too optimistic, they prefer to pay a lower price. Let's see
the view of an insurer on this aspect. What do you think, Mr. Beer?
I fully agree with that particular statement. Because of course clients have an ongoing demand to have, let's say, the most economical level of coverage that they can buy, but up to a certain extent that is understandable, but beyond a certain point of time or beyond a certain level, it does not pay off anymore for the client. So you cannot expect, let's say, to pay half the price for a Mercedes and still expect to receive the same reliable quality or the same performance or the same, let's say, same engine. What you want at the end of the day, that if you want the car to...
You could expect that, but it's not realistic. So.
It's not realistic. And the same thing happens across the board for, different products, different categories of services. Even, when you distinguish between a low-cost airline, you get a service for the level of the premium that you pay, or you get a different, let's say, full service airline, where for the higher premium or for the higher ticket prices that you pay, you expect something different. So clients have to, at the end of the day, when we discuss together with clients, we also say that at the end, when in the financial services, as companies, we undertake risk. It's not simply, as I like to say, we are not simply collecting premium. We are collecting the premium to be able to cover the risk. And at the end of the day, you need to have a certain minimum level of premium to be able to fulfill your obligations. Very often, clients see certain insurance premiums, especially on the mandatory side, as simple tax, which they have to buy for covering the liabilities towards third parties, and they don't get any benefits. So they want to really get the cheapest level of protection or coverage they have, without recognizing that at some point of time, if the insurance company cannot fulfill its obligations and pay the claim when it happens, typically in the case of FIAR, then the liability goes back onto the client. And this is something they have to become aware, that if the company from which they bought the protection or from which they bought the policy is not able to fulfill their obligations and their promises for the level of premium that they collected, then there is a whole chain of events for which clients themselves will face consequences at some point of time, because the bill will not be paid today. They paid the premium today, but if more and more clients have premium, let's say, claims not paid, not only is an economic loss for individually the client who had the claim, but later on the premiums will anyway go up, and the price will have to be paid. So it is much better to accept what is really the realistic level that you need to pay for a certain level of service, and then you can expect to get that level of service.
But isn't it mostly, let's say, the insurer's fault, because of the fact that they know they can do their math, and they know that they will not be able to pay the claims after a period of time. So, okay, as a client, it's normal for a client to look for the cheaper products,
sure,
because, okay, everybody has problems because of the economic crisis. So I'm asking if it's not more the fault of the insurers rather than the clients not picking the best quality products or reasonably quality.
I agree with you on that one for sure. At the end of the day, clients will be demanding from the market in line with their expectations. Very clearly, and this is also what I mentioned earlier, as an industry, we need to put a mirror in front of us to really look at what is the true situation and what is the current ability of each company. And this, every company individually has to evaluate for themselves in terms of what is really the right level of premium flows that they need for themselves to be able to fulfill their obligations. And very clearly, it is the obligation of each and every company to manage. It's a free market. It is their full obligation to manage their results in a way which allows them to be operating in the market on a sustained basis, with full economic principles, also being able to make a profit. And yes, they should take up the responsibility to evaluate for themselves what is the right level of the premium. But at a certain point of time, I think here we also need to, at the level of the market, together with the partners on the intermediation side, also together with the regulator, from time to time, take a look and say, is the situation healthy? Is everything fine? Because we cannot afford, especially in this environment, to have any kind of negative news with regard to the industry, because that will further damage the credibility and that will further damage the trust of the clients towards insurance as a product, as a service, and we've got to avoid that at all costs. And I think it is helpful, of course, while companies need to do their own evaluation, they need to take their own economic decisions, but also as industry players from time to time, we need to discuss and debate and say, is the current development healthy? If it is fine, we have a common agreement, then it's a different conclusion. But I think from the discussions that we've had at FIAR, together with the regulator, together with our partners, together with the brokers, together with the industry itself, I think the situation as it is right now cannot be considered to be healthy. I think there are some fundamental issues which we need to resolve. Also goes back to individual companies that they need to resolve it for themselves. But at least from an industry perspective, we can put a mirror in front and say, things do not look very positive, and we need to act on this right now, because otherwise, in the long run, we will lose the trust of the clients, of the different stakeholders who are participating in this industry.
That's true. And
We fully agree with you, but in the same time, don't you agree that clients should be more aware and have to really look out into what they are buying? Because usually and this goes not only for the insurance market, but for any kind of market. When you pay a low premium or a low price for a product, usually you don't expect to get the highest quality of services possible. So basically, when you insure yourself by buying an MTPL policy, which is half the price of half of the average price on the market, what could you expect?
Sure, absolutely.
On this subject, I will make a comment. Now we should split the insurance lines in compulsory by law and facultative. If we are talking about about MTPL, motor liability, this is regulated. In general, the insurance industry is very much and very well regulated. Especially this product you mentioned is regulated by law. So me, as a client, I don't care too much about the quality of an MTPL, because this is supposed to be controlled and regulated by somebody for me. I don't have to do it because I'm not a specialist as a client. What I'm interested in this case is just the price. But the price also should be controlled by somebody. So the answer from my point of view as a client on MTPL is like this. For the other lines where I can decide to buy because I feel or I know that I have a need and I want to be protected, there the education and the awareness is very important.
So do you think that the Insurance Supervisory Commission should put a minimum limit on the pricing on MTPL?
This have done before, by the way.
I would not say a minimum to write a minimum limit in the law, but at least to be sure that the mechanism used by the insurance companies, the underwriting is the correct one. I don't know how they do it internally, but the supervisory.
Do you think, Mr. Bier,
should check
this would
the regulator? I think the regulator. Well, I wouldn't necessarily take up the idea of let's say a certain minimum level of premium, because different tools have been tried. But at the end of the day, there are some, let's say, fundamental principles by which companies are running. When they are collecting the premiums, they have to have the necessary infrastructure to be able to pay the claims. When the claims are coming in, they should be able to set up the reserves. They should build up the reserves according to the claims experience, and then also they have some minimum obligations by which they have to pay out the claims in line with what are the common market practices. So the regulator has a lot of tools in this regard to take a look whether all the companies are aligned in terms of how the clients expect the level of service. And if there are certain companies which are not able to comply, there are a lot of, let's say, mechanisms and measures the regulator has at their disposal to, let's say, deal with these companies to make sure that they do not default on their obligations. And that's the key point. And this can be done with different tools, taking a look at the, let's say, the development of the claims, taking a look at the development of the receivables, taking a look at the development of the complaints which the clients are making. And we have seen also together with CESEA, they get a very clear feeling in terms of the development of the complaints, which are the companies the clients are complaining against, how is that situation evolving, and then they can take the necessary measures. But what is important is they take the necessary measures so that the clients who are depending that the system is working in a certain structured, regulated way, because it is provided in the law, can then expect the market to move on, and that whatever is the premium level is then the right premium level based on free market principles.
Just to continue the idea of the facultative insurance from the client perspective, here the education is very important, because if the client doesn't understand why and what he's buying, then it's difficult also to accept or to understand the pricing. If they don't give too much value to the insurance they buy, then of course that they expect for the lowest price. So we as an insurance industry, we should explain to the clients very well what is the advantage of having an insurance. And they should understand that if they want something which is functional in case of a claim, they should pay. You gave the example of Mercedes. When you go to buy a car, this is very easy to understand for everybody. And you cannot go to Mercedes and to ask to negotiate the price of a Mercedes and to buy it for 10,000 euro. You know that you cannot do this. On insurance, you can go to Allianz, for example, and you can ask an insurance policy for half of the price compared to the price which is normally offered. And this is a common practice on the insurance market. Unfortunately, the answer from the other side, from the insurance companies, very often is positive. They say, yes, of course, we give you this discount, just buy it. So here we should work a little bit.
Let's stick on this idea, and because we're coming to the end of our show, I would like to invite the three of you for a couple of conclusions. And if you can, I will start with Mr. Bir. If you can also tell us what are your expectations for the rest of the year? How do you think that the market will evolve eventually?
I expect that overall, looking at the general context that we are in, also taking a look at the overall context at the level of Europe and the different pressures we face in the neighboring region, there will be continuous pressure on the industry. And I think it is up to us as an industry. We cannot anymore depend on external factors or external aspects to govern and to influence the development of our business. We have to take a look at it for ourselves. We have to take a look at the future of our industry in our own hands. And if we take the necessary measures, and I think the solutions are quite obvious for everyone, then we can affect it in a positive way. There are already some signs which we see in a positive way where there are companies which are taking some tough decisions in order to make sure that the business is moving in the right direction. And from that perspective, I think overall, despite the fact that this will be a challenging year, we might see some positive developments and some positive signs until the end of the year, especially if the companies on their own decide to do the right things and take the necessary right measures, which are important for the further development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fugaciu. What are your expectations for 2012 and conclusion for our show for today?
From the market, the economy stress point of view, I see that this is now decreasing. Even if we're still in the crisis, the companies and also the people, they got used with the crisis, and now they have more normal approach. They know what to do. So they set up very clearly their expectations, also their budgets. From the insurance point of view, they know what they want and how much they're ready to pay. What we can do here is and we should do, is to increase the awareness, and we as brokers, we will continue to do it and to explain to the clients that they should consider to have an appropriate coverage. From the insurer's perspective, I would expect first to have a correct pricing. I don't say to have cheaper or more expensive insurance, but to have the correct price to allow them to fulfill their obligations. And I'm optimistic that we can have good results in 2012, but we should do some work.
So
together.
the brokers have a lot of challenges for you, Mr. Bir. It's thank you very much for your conclusions, and I would also like to hear the opinion of Alexandru Ciuncan and the client's perspective on what we've discussed today.
Well, basically referring to what the three of you have been saying before, I think we have witnessed a very interesting 3 years after the crisis has started. And I feel that 2012 will be a challenging year, that's for sure. But the main topic of FIAR and the main topic of this year probably will be the pressure put on the rates, both on retail and commercial lines, both on mandatory and facultative policies. We feel that there is a big issue in this regard, and we do feel that clients should try and understand the more that they can what exactly they are buying, and to try to find the right price, the right price or the correct price, not to look always after the cheapest type of insurance.
I would like to thank all our guests for today for coming to our show, and would like to thank Mr. Rangambir, the president of UNSAR, the National Association of Insurance and Reinsurance Companies from Romania, Mr. Cristian Fugaciu, the general director of Marsh Romania, the first broker on the Romanian insurance market, and Alexandru Ciuncan, the general secretary of APA, the Romanian Association for Insurance Promotion. Stay tuned on XPRIMM TV, because another show is coming up next at 1:30. It's called Challenges and Perspectives for the International Insurance Market, and it will be hosted by our colleague Alexandru Roșca. Thank you very much.